All right. Hey, YouTube. Go live for a quick lunchtime. I'm going to eat in front of you because it's got to be that quick. Ain't got time to be walking around enjoying the smoky weather. We got quite a bit of smoke coming in from the fires down in Yosemite. I guess I should say I'll eat off to the side so you don't have to. I'll try to duck and cover. How's everybody doing today? So quick, while I'm eating here, stuff in my face. See what everybody thinks about this whole treason deal that's going around. It's flooding Twitter with which primarily are probably socialist operatives filling the Twitter sphere with all these tweets about Trump and treason and articles of impeachment and all kinds of other crap because of this stupid summit with Putin. It's bizarre, the line of thinking is going on. Hey Daniel, what's up? How's it going? Treason, apparently. So I'm just wondering if I'm the only one that thinks the people are off their rocker. And anybody that follows the channel knows I'm no fan of Donald Trump. He's not a guy I give a lot of credence to, or a guy that I follow for sure. But the distraction element of pushing this issue is certainly got to be distracting from something else, correct? It can't be an organic movement, I don't think. Everybody's trying to compare these Russian hackers that supposedly meddled in the election process by putting out propaganda, which if people are easily swayed by propaganda, maybe that's their problem, is my kind of thoughts on that. It's pretty well documented that no votes were actually changed in the process. Nobody actually hacked into an election system and changed a vote, at least that we found evidence of at this point. So it's not like the Russians were that deep into it. And these supposed 12 hackers that are indicted, are they even government officials? Are they even part of the Russian government? I don't know that we know that yet either. And to sit down with a foreign leader and discuss things doesn't make it treason, you bunch of idiots. Many times in war, foreign leaders will talk to each other. Sometimes they'll use proxies and general to general and however they decide to do it, but talking to foreign leaders is not treason. Why? They're making yourselves look foolish. And you know what? They're making people like me be like, you know what? I'm going to side with, you're going to get me wearing a Trump hat before too long. You guys idiots keep this up with this jackassery that they're pushing out there. Was that who I thought it was? Hey, Mule Team, what's going on? I just had to get some thoughts out here about your boy, Trump. You've just been laughing, right? Yeah, I have to laugh at some point, but also you have to be able to counter the issues because you got these idiots out there pushing, oh, it's treason and we have to impeach Trump, but for what? And there's people out there that go like, oh, well, yeah, they got to take that seriously. No, you don't. There's nothing serious to take because there's been no treasonous activity. I know, exactly, Mule. They got me defending Trump. It's madness. Straight madness. And I'm not defending the man necessarily. I'm defending the position and the actions, because they've all been presidential. There was this whole weekend, they're trying to go after him for not bowing to the Queen. Nobody should bow to the Queen. No American should bow to a monarch, period. And if you're in the military, you salute the Queen. It's a sign of respect. Just like back a month ago plus, when the North Korean general saluted Trump and Trump saluted back. It's like the people that are on the socialist side are all don't know what proper decorum is. They don't know what manners are. They don't know what respect is at all. You know, and it's like this only continues to push it. They don't know what they're talking about with this treason talk. 2 scoops of ice cream is treason. Right, who we got? JJ, what's up? Thanks for checking in. M Long, how you doing? They're scared Putin gave truck information. Yeah, they are. I think you're right about that, JJ, or M Long. They're afraid that the collusion with Hillary and the uranium one thing is pretty apparent. And Putin even said it. The money that was given may have been acquired. It may have been funded legally, but it wasn't acquired legally. I think it's the way he said it. So what does that tell you? It's called money laundering. Ill-gotten gains used for political purposes. Hey, Alicia, what's going on? So this is a Tuesday throwdown rant while I'm trying to eat lunch. Yeah, right. The Swedish control the Nobel Prize, though, Daniel. I don't know that they would necessarily be Democrat. And yeah, right, Mule, that Putin blew up the Clintons, which makes you wonder. And you know, so I don't even want to get into the higher oligarchy of everything, but this goes back to years ago with the whole Ukraine thing, right? The EU Central Bank was trying to undermine Ukraine, and everybody on the left is pushing for war with Russia because Russia stepped in and wouldn't allow it. And they're still pushing that same issue, saying Putin is an aggressor in the Ukraine. When I equate it to basically, it's almost like the Cuban Missile Crisis in a lot of ways. The Russians getting into Cuba or something for us. We'd have to intervene. But why all of a sudden is the left continually pushing for war? Is it just to hide their own misdeeds still? Is it to keep the eye off the ball of something else nefarious going on? Because the war drum's beaten, but there's no reason, nothing behind it. It's just distraction. So I gotta wonder what else is going on. Is it a distraction from the Clinton issue, collusion with Russian oligarchs, Russian corporatists that were seeking to buy stuff out? Is that what the issue is? I don't know. That's kind of the question. What else is going on, Alicia? It may have been popping, but I wasn't able to track it all. I just kind of, the treason thing was what really caught my attention, and the idiocy of it all, the total irrationality, and how the thing is people are buying into it. People that are neutral parties are like, oh, well, let's look at treason. Let's look at impeachment. This may be serious. You got to counter it with something, right? You have to, seriously, unfortunately, you have to address it. Otherwise, people are going to buy into it like, yeah, impeachment. It's like worse. It's criminal. Daniel, look up Mortimer Adler, the Ford of the Encyclopedia Britannica, and talk about propaganda. Right. And who was it? Somebody just recently did a video. Was it you, Alicia? Did the video about an old dictionary definition that was basically socialist propaganda inserted into the encyclopedia years ago? Somebody did a video on that, and I can't remember who it was. Right, Daniel, create chaos to gain control and rebuild from that. That's the way to do it. The Cloward and Piven strategy is in full effect with both the illegals. That's one way to cloud and Piven the country, with the illegals and the welfare state, and then you have the foreign intervention that causes the chaos as well, and everything else. but creating the infighting in the populace is part of that. It's got to create a lot of chaos on a lot of different fronts. So we have to be able to focus and look and really determine what's the agenda, what's the real thing to focus on the fight at the time, right? In the end, we can only affect what we can affect. We're not able to focus on everything. At least you got a video coming out here shortly. Cool. So that was your video, Alicia, talking about definitions. Was that? It wasn't about gender, was it? What was it about? But that was a couple videos ago you did. That was good. Saints, what's up, man? The guilty dog barks, they are barking. Yeah, right. The guilty party speaks first sometimes. Well, Mule, you're not staying too far away from people. I see you at the pool and stuff. When you're going to the water park, you're not like on the edges of society. But, you know, doing your thing, no doubt. Good times. But really, Saints, the thing is that they're barking to distract and overwhelm the information flow to distract from something else. So this treason, this Trump summit isn't the thing to be worried about. It's something else going on. And that's what I don't know. That's what I'm worried about. What is it? Because I don't see it. Because I don't think there's going to be enough. There's obviously nothing sticking to Hillary with the current FBI situation. The FBI has to be destroyed to the ground before we're going to get any traction, in my opinion. So is that the infighting yet to come? Are the black shirts about ready to move on the brown shirts, if you will? Obviously, the FBI was the brown shirts. They were the useful idiots to impose some of this stuff. Who's going to come in and take them out to bring forth the next regime? When does the, not regime change, to put it, not because it's president to president, but really the post-constitutional era. They're trying to push a post-constitutional era that we've been working towards for a century. You know, we've been working on this. And now that, you know, we've seen how deep this is in the FBI, obviously there's a next step beyond that. They get rid of the FBI and insert them, replace them with something worse. That would be a concern, I think, right now. I've talked about, you look at these young politicians and these young bureaucrats they're putting in places, they're replacing the corporate oligarchs that use socialism for their benefit, and they're replacing them with true believers, people who aren't in it for the money, people who are diehard, dyed-in-the-wool, indoctrinated believers, like this chick from New York who stumbled all over herself this weekend. She's dyed-in-the-wool, just like Obama. She's dyed-in-the-wool. She's not a corporate oligarch, you know, in it for the money. She's not a Feinstein. She's not a Pelosi. She's beyond that. And that's the real people to look out for. That's what the FBI is going to get replaced with. These people in the FBI that are getting pushed out now, I think, are the ones who used it to take advantage of and get through the system and just be comfortable in their lives and to pad their wallets and whatever else they could do to collude with people. That's how they use these pedophile rings to blackmail people, because they're comfortable and that's what they use it for. But they're being replaced by the diehards, the true members of the party, if you will. That's what I think really got to be watching out for. How's this replacement cycle going to work? And that's really, I think, is the real issue. Necessarily, is the system is being refreshed in a more socialistic, communistic mold, as the old diehards, or not diehards, but the old gatekeepers of the oligarchs die off. The socialists and the communists are replacing them. My thoughts. What else we got? Who got sent out? Yeah, Alicia, that last video you did about the dictionary changing the definition sent a couple decades ago about It was about conservative meant racist. That's what it was. Yeah, Alicia did a video on that a couple weeks ago, that in the dictionary from 1970 something, a racist was also a conservative, and it's all said "see conservative," and that was decades ago, before, in hard copy. When things were hard copy, they weren't on the internet here, where it could be changed like Wikipedia. Hey JJ, you're talking about the Long March, you're talking about Mao's Long March and the communists? Is that what you're referring to? That's a whole different type of attack and a type of mission than what we're dealing with, I think. You think we're towards the end of it? Think we're towards the end of the communists really pushing forward? I don't think the communists have the hearts and minds of the common man yet for that, to do that. But we're definitely ingrained in the idea that words don't mean what they say. Oh, the Long March of the Infiltration. Yeah, good point, JJ. That's a good way to frame it. It's a long march of taking over the government, infiltration, using the people you could manipulate and blackmail to just further your cause, and then when they're no longer needed, they're turning the long march of replacing them with the diehards, like you said, in older government institutions, right? Good point. It's a good way to say it. Yeah, Mule, we need to have a chat sometime. We haven't had a chat in so long. Just to see you get fired up again. We haven't had, even Tony hasn't done anything fired up in a long time. I can't the next couple nights, but we'll think of something. Maybe this Friday. We'll see. Is that 01 Crom? What's up? Communists to the left, fascists to the right. Yeah, that's a problem. Is people think the response to communism is totalitarianism. Too often they want to control what people think and do as a response, and that causes the opposite effect. Well, JJ, they know they've been working on the kids for decades. Since the 50s. They've been working on the kids. The kids that are grown up for a couple generations now have been gotten, if you will, to a large proportion, federal government intrusion into schools. That's all that's been, Yeah, JJ, and that's one of the biggest lies we were ever told. They taught in school about McCarthy doing this witch hunt, and they compared it to the Salem witch trials, and they tried to say there were all these innocent people involved. 90% of the people on McCarthy's list were communists. He didn't get it wrong. He was dead on right. He's probably the most right of any government official we've had in a long time. McCarthy was right with his list. Yeah, Mule, the grandkids are a good reason for a lot of this. But also you got, that's the struggle. Like, yeah, you want to focus on them, and I say kids, I don't have grandkids, but you want to focus on them and making them better. But you also, I know we've talked about it. Why would you leave a fight for them to fight that you can fight yourself when you have the capability and ability? That's tough. That's something we all got to come to terms with. Yeah, the Salt in the Nations character is long standing, JJ. It has been going on for a long time. And they're using the nation's best intentions against us. That's part of the Cloward Piven with welfare, using the country's own ideals against it in a way that undermines it. That's part of the Cloud Piven and the and everything. Hey, Walter Davis, what's going on? Good afternoon. I see you had to do some mechanical work. That sucked, having to go back and fix everything after it was supposed to be fixed the first time. I struggle reading manuals, but you know, it is what it is. I try to read things when they're that big of importance. I try to read the manual and sit down and get it done. It takes me a lot longer though when I do it that way. And here comes the wind. You guys are probably getting that. Planting fire in the belly. Yeah, you got to, mule. You got to. It ain't gonna end in one generation. You know, however the thought is been brought in, it isn't gonna end quickly. Rules for radicals, right, JJ? It's back to that playbook along with a couple others. And that's right, JJ and Daniel, the social engineering, that's like one of the big fronts that's kind of been seated. The front in the social issues has been seated to the left. Nobody can be judged for any social cause anymore. Any, what's the word I'm looking for? Nobody can be questioned or corrected socially anymore. There's no social check on on people's bad influences and habits, and as they affect other people. You can't call somebody out for being a pedophile now. I mean, pedophiles are getting acceptance. Are you kidding me? I mean, we're long past, trannies and all the homosexuality and everything else that destroys a society and doesn't, uplift a society. Now we're down to the point of total degradation of a society and the pedophilia issue. It's terrible. And that's one of the things that it just kind of got given up on by a large portion of society who went along with it and said, yeah, people can choose to be what they want. They bought into it. Hey, Crom, turkey sandwich. Yeah, Mule Team, teaching the tribe what to think. You know what I found out? Teaching my tribe how to think made them a bunch of anarchists. At least my oldest, he's more of an anarchist than a constitutionalist, I think, for sure. Yeah, reverse peer pressure. Just the opposite. It used to be peer pressure to make people, to conform to social norms. Now it's the opposite. You got peer pressure to be a freak. They use peer pressure to make you something that you're not, to make you think that you're the unusual one. But ultimately, again, all that stuff is used to undermine society so that people in power can have control over that society. It's not about the individual. Yeah, Mule, he might learn it with maturity, but I'd rather him be an anarchist than a socialist. It's better to be willing to go it alone and be your own man than it is to be a collectivist. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Walter. Well, you gotta be strong in your convictions when it gets to that point. The people of the revolution didn't back down because they didn't understand things. They had to know what they were fighting for. You don't go through Valley Forge without really believing, you know. Hey, Dash Out, what's going on? We're devolving into what's the issue? We got all this treason talk, but it seems like a distraction more than anything because it's not legitimate. There's no backing behind it. And my theory at this point is that that's just more replacing the old people and coming in with the new, fresh communists, the true believers, as part of the agenda. This whole treason thing is a distraction from the FBI thing, which is going to be what really sweeps up the old guard, if you will, and pushes in the new-blooded, dyed-in-the-wool communists. Hey, Rooster, what's up? How you been? How's life behind enemy lines? On the front line in the war, for sure. Let me know how bad this wind is, guys. I'll try to move the camera if you can't hear. I don't think they're good musicians. I think they're good distractions, though. I think if we do a good enough job paying attention, we'll notice. I think when you do YouTube live like this, I think it flips the image, Rooster. I think that's the way it does it without, I don't know. Because when I turn the camera around to face forward, I think it faces the right way. But when you reverse the camera, it's showing a reverse image. Right, Daniel? That was all my agenda, to make sure you didn't have to see me eating. Or at least hide it. Oh, is that right, Dash Out? And you're talking about the YouTube app for your phone got messed up? Yeah, I haven't really used it in the past, so this is kind of a new one for me. Oh yeah, Rooster, it's not a truck, it's a Jeep. Get it right. All right, folks. That's about wrapping it up here, but thanks for checking in. Just want to get those thoughts out. I saw it on the news. This whole treason thing doesn't make any sense because it doesn't have any traction. You know? So I think the hardest thing is for us is to talk to the neutral parties out there and be like, hey, you know, this is not, there's nothing legit about this. Oh, wow, Prom, you went there? Are you serious, man? Same thing as a Yugo. That hurts, man. That hurts. But it is interesting that this whole treason accusation and all this flubbalub over the weekend about the Queen, they all kind of dovetail together. And it's all tied around this FBI interrogation, FBI confession stuff, and that stuff's getting buried. And people aren't seeing the real hideous nature that is the federal government agencies, really. They're even glossing over the corruption of the FBI when they do report on it. So I think that's the real issue. Jeep, sheep, what's the difference? False flag him long. I mean, you never know. So many things are hard to tell. You got the whole thing in Israel with Syria right now and the escalation and some fighting there. Drive it across the stream. Oh, from the other day. Yeah, if I go do that, I'll have to video it. Hey, have a good day, Alicia. And Trump said after the election he'll have more flexibility. Did he say that? Yeah, I mean, it makes. I remember somebody saying something like that. But really, you don't have flexibility. You have your duties under the Constitution. That's the problem. People don't believe in those boundaries. Maybe Crom, maybe that's it. War with Iran for Israel. I don't know if I go that far. Because remember, well, I guess that's possible because, and the thing is it's one of those things you got to remain a neutral party, I think, because we have no business in getting involved in that. But based upon prophecy, Damascus will be destroyed, and one of the ways to go about that is to eliminate Iran from helping to protect them. So that could be how it happens, is another issue. Oh, okay. Dash, you got a long memory, don't you? You're going back like 6 years ago. Was Obama that said that? Okay. Oh, I haven't heard anything about a coup in Iran. I haven't heard anything about that. I know that they've talked about the Iranian having regiments in Syria. You talking about prophecy, Daniel? That it would make sense that U.S. gets destroyed first. The problem I have with that, Daniel, is that, and take this for what it's worth, which isn't much, but the Israel of the Bible is not the Israel of the country of today. I don't believe, because they don't follow the scripture. They're not just because they call themselves Israel doesn't make them Israel. You know what I'm saying? They haven't built the temple yet, etc. So there's some gaps there, I think, that would have to be filled, and a change of governance within the boundaries of that landmass there. Just my thoughts. But Attack Narnia. Okay, Dash. With Dash's comment on Attack at Narnia, we'll check out. Thanks for checking in, people. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys later. Just getting that off my chest. Live free.